Hey you all. Okay, so this is my live video. I am the Chalk Couture independent designer. I'm Suzanne Martin, for those of you that don't know me. I'm the Chocolate Lady. I thought that was a cute play on words. But anyway, so if you're curious about Chalk Couture and just kind of want to see what it's all about, that's what I'm doing today. I just wanted to show you a quick project that I kind of came up with on my own. Chalk Couture is a company that makes chalk paste, chalk inks that are permanent when heated, and chalk transfers that are silkscreen transfers. This is a small piece of a transfer that we'll be using today. Whenever you purchase your transfers, they come in packages like this. And these lines on here, you can cut them apart and use each piece separately. So that's what I've done. I took our Wish Big transfer, which comes with some birthday stuff here, and hi there, and cut it apart. So I'm going to use a couple of these words today to do a project just really quick. So I wanted to show you all, I made this earlier today, and this is what I'm going to be making another version of this in a different frame. And so I just had this frame laying around, and it had some pictures in it. When we purchased or sold our last house, I staged it up and just bought a bunch of cheap frames from Walmart. And so what I did was I took a cereal box and cut it to the right shape and size, and put some fabric on it because I'm a crafty lady. I have lots of scrap craft stuff laying all over the place. And so I just found some fabric that I had laying around and glued it to the piece of cereal box and then stuck it on the inside of this frame. And then I used my Hello transfer in a couple of different colors of chalk paste to make this sign. And I think it's pretty cool. I'm excited about it, actually. It turned out better than I thought it was going to. And so today what I've got here to make live with you all is another frame that I had laying around, and I put a butterfly stencil or fabric pattern in here so that I'm going to make another one that says Wish Big. And the two colors I'm going to be using are white and bubblegum. I thought those would contrast pretty good with the teal on here. And so the supplies that I have set up, these are my stir sticks, and guys, these are for cake pops. I never ever used them for cake pops, and I found them in my drawer in the kitchen one day when I was looking for something. It's plastic, it cleans off easily with water, and it has this little lip around the edge, so whenever I stir up my paste with it and set it down, it doesn't get paste on my table or my surface. So that's pretty cool. So I have my stir sticks, I have my paste colors, I have a towel to fuzz my transfers with, so I'll show you what that means in just a minute. I have different size squeegees. For this one today, I'm going to be using my angled squeegee, but I also bought a small squeegee from Chalk Couture, and then I cut it into pieces because that just worked better for me to have different sizes. So this is what the full size looks like, and I actually cut it into 3 pieces. I cut it into like 1/3 off of it, and then cut the next in half. And these work really well when you're getting into some detailed projects with flowers and some little stuff like that. So anyway, what I'm doing today is Wish Big. And I noticed after I put my fabric on here, there's a bubble in my fabric. And so I don't like that, but I'm not going to redo it because I'd have to cut another cereal box up. And frankly, I don't have another empty one. We just recycled our stuff last night. So I'm just going to lay my letters over to kind of hide where the bubble in the fabric is, and you won't even be able to tell it's there. So Wish Big, I guess I need to reverse it here. I kind of start my projects out with just setting it on here and kind of seeing how I think that design is going to look. I think this is probably a little too far apart, so I'm going to push it in a little bit closer together. And I really like the way that that looks, so this is how I'm going to do it. And these are adhesive and reusable. So for one of these, if you're taking good care of your transfers, you should be able to get anywhere from 10 to 12 uses out of it. I've heard people say they can get a lot more. So that's really cool. I have not tried to use a stencil enough yet so that I've used it up. So we'll see how that goes. But I have never used these before, so it's super sticky on this side. And what I'm going to do here is fuzz it. So I'm going to lay it on this towel and get fuzz on the back of the adhesive. And you might be wondering why in the world you would do that. Well, it's because it sticks so well that's hard to pull up if you don't do this first, especially because I'm working on glass. It will not pull up very easily at all. So I'm going to do this probably 4 times since I've never used this transfer before, and because I'm using it on glass. Just kind of pick up fuzz off of this towel here, and then I will place it on here where I like it. So I really think right about here would be good at an angle. And something else about these transfers is they do have like a silk fabric in the transfer. So whenever you're putting this down and peeling it up, one of the things you want to be careful to do is not to pull it at an angle. Always try to pull it up and down or left and right so you don't stretch out your design. That can happen, and then you end up with bubbles in your design, and you don't want that. So let's see. Oh, I forgot to fuzz this one. And it's already sticking pretty hard. Imagine if I'd already put my chalk on there and tried to do that. It would have been really difficult to pull up. Okay, so let me fuzz this one too. And then I'll get it laid down here. I think I like the placing it right here. One of the things is, if I didn't like it, I could just pull it up and put it back down wherever I felt like putting it and felt like it was a good spot for it. So my plan for this is to layer these the way that I did my hello sign. I'm going to start with the white, and then I'm going to dry it with a hair dryer. Then I'm going to put these exact same stencils right back down, just shift it over just slightly so that it gives a little bit of a white shadow and some layering. It adds a little bit more depth to my design here. This is pretty basic, just 2 words, some fabric and a frame. It's super simple, and like I said, I already had this frame, and I guarantee you I didn't pay more than $5 for this frame at the store. Although Chalk Couture does sell a lot of much better quality products that you can craft on. One of the things that came with my starter kit is this frame back here, if I can get it. This is one of our chalkboards, and it's a high quality magnetic chalkboard, and I love it. And one of the great things about this Chalk Couture paste is you can wipe it off with water. So whenever I decide that I want to put a different design on here, I just get some water, wet it with a spray bottle or a wet paper towel, and just clean it all off, make sure it's good and clean and dry, and then I can start over and put as many designs on this as I like. That's one of the things I like about their paste. Now we do have an ink that I was telling you about that you can heat set and it becomes permanent. So you can use it on clothes, on ceramics, on anything that you can heat in the oven. My plan actually is to make some bakeware with some ink designs on it. One of my favorite baking dishes, I don't know if y'all have favorite baking products, but I do. I love to bake and I love to cook. And so one of my favorite baking dishes is a casserole dish that I bought that has a really cute little pattern around the edge of it. And that's the only reason I bought it, is because it had a cute pattern on it. So I intend to make some cute patterns on some of the things that I already have, and then possibly make some to for other people to have too. So anyway, let's get started with this. I have my wish bag on here, and all I do is open my paste. Now I used this a little bit ago today to make the hello sign, so I know that it is the right moisture content. So let's see, but I will give it a stir because it's been sitting for just a little bit. Your chalks need to be not too wet, but not dry. Dry is not good. Dry means it will dry very quickly on your project and it could mess it up. So this consistency is about like yogurt. That's exactly what you're looking for. If it's not wet enough, you add some water. It's as simple as that. And see, once again, stirred it up. I'm putting my stir down here. It's not going to get anything on anything. So I'm using my angled squeegee. I like using the angled one because it has wider sides on it, especially like right here and right here. When you're trying to get your chalk paste smooth, you need to use a wider thing. If I try to use this little bitty thing, it leaves little pieces or like thicker areas around the edges of this, and you just keep having to go over and over and over again, and then you risk your chalk drying on your board. So just get some chalk on here, smooth it on my transfer, make sure I'm covering all the areas well. You can always add more if you need to. Don't worry about adding too much because you're going to wipe off the extra when you're done. I'm going to go ahead and do both letters at the same time here before I clear any of it off. You want to save your paste, it's precious. Although it's not expensive, it's just you want to save as much as you can so you can use it as much as you can. So that's all I do. I just put it on there like that. I smooth it off, make sure that I'm getting it pretty even. And don't worry if you get off your stencil on a project like this, you can use water to wipe it off, and you want to be able to tell. So I'm just wiping off the extra. And then here in just a minute, I'm going to pull my transfers. I have my pan of water sitting over here waiting for me. So as soon as I pull it up, I just stick it in my water pan upside down with the sticky part up. And I can put both of these in there at the same time. See, I fuzzed this and it's sticking pretty big time anyway. So it's a really good thing that I did that. I might not have been able to get it up without messing up my project. So I just pull these up. Stick them in my pan of water. And my first part of my design is finished. I think it looks really cute. Actually, it looks like I dripped a little water on there, but like I said, no big deal. I'll just let it dry. Use my hair dryer to dry it a little quicker because you guys are watching. And then I can be ready to put down my next layer. I do have a paper towel off to the side here, just in case I did something like this. Because you make mistakes when you're crafting. It's just the way that it is. Sometimes they're big ones and sometimes they're little ones. So I've got my hair dryer on standby here. I'm just going to put it on a cool setting and just get this dry. And that's it. It's dry already. You can tell whenever it's dry because it loses its glossy appearance. Let me put this lid on here. Alright, this will keep it from drying out, but like I said, if it gets a little dry while you're working on something, you can always add some extra water and get it right back to where it needs to be. So next I'm going to do my pink. Now this is a little thicker and I want it a little bit thicker because I'm going to do a thicker layer of this over top of my Wish Big. And because I'm not doing a lot of details with this project, it's okay for it to dry a little faster because I don't need to like leave it that quickly. So I'm going to leave this about like it is. Just give it a little stir. I'm going to wipe off my angled squeegee in my water here and use my paper towel to get it clean. This is how great this is, how quick and easy it is to do a project. And you know, if you do one and you don't like it, you've wasted very little time and energy. You can reuse your stencil again so you didn't waste your stencil and you only used a tiny bit of paste. I have no idea how many projects you can get out of one of these pastings, but I imagine it's quite a bit. Okay, so my squeegee's ready to go. I'm going to get these out of here. One of the things with your transfers is you don't want the sticky side to touch itself. It will stick together, and you can get it apart if you work it out in some water, but I've heard some people say that once it sticks pretty good, you might not be able to. You could ruin your transfer, so you just need to be careful with that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just getting off the extra white chalk, and because I'm getting ready to use this again, I'm just going to lay it over here on my towel and to take my paper towel and dry it off, wipe off the excess white that's still left on here. I'll show you how to clean your transfer as soon as we're done with our project here. So I'm going to rub this over here, and I'm just trying to get the extra water off right now and let this dry so I can put it back down. It's already starting to get sticky again with sticking my finger. So we're going to do this other letter, getting the extra chalk off. Alright, and then this one's wanting to roll up on me. Wiping the extra water off. And getting the water off on this side. This side's the most important side to get dry here, but you kind of do want it dry. Your chalk paste will become thinner with the moisture that's on your transfer, so the sticky side needs to dry so it'll stick. And the other side needs to dry so you don't mess up your consistency of your paste while you're working with it. Alright, so I'm going to leave these here for just a second. And I'll fin it with this. I just love working with this stuff. It's so fun. I didn't even try it before I signed on. I could tell right away this is something that I was really going to enjoy doing. And even if like I don't want to make it into like a money-making business, you get a 40% discount just for being a designer for them. So, and it's a minimal amount that you have to purchase or sell to get product value, and it's 200 product value per quarter keeps you active, which is, you know, every 3 months. That's pretty easy to do. We do make and takes, which is where I get together with you and you order your products beforehand. You can order a board, a transfer, and a paste color, or more than one if you choose, and make your own project. And I show you how to use it, and you can have access to some of my extra colors and some of my extra stuff to spruce your project up a little bit. Or we can do Facebook parties where you can earn some discounts and some free products and stuff like that. So if you're interested, just send me a message and I will get you all set up with that. These should be pretty good now. I'm going to lay these back down, and I'm going to offset them just a little bit from where I first put them. Looks like I got a little something on there whenever I put the lid back on. So I want this to be like a shadow, and for some reason, whenever I do shadows on stuff, I like for it to go down and to the right. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a standard thing, if other people even think about it that way, but I notice myself doing that on everything that I make. It's just the way that I am. I'm a little OCD about random stuff. Make sure that you don't have any bubbles in your transfer when you put it down, especially around the area that your letters are. A lot of times I like to do this just to make sure that I'm getting a good seal with the transfer on here. So let's see if I can get this one pretty closely matched up here. That's a little too much, I think. So you get to play around with this, and you can see I keep lifting it back up and putting it back down because it's not where I want it to be. A little too much. Sorry, the placement's hard to get exactly, especially when you're doing something like this. And when you're like OCD the way that I am, you want it to be exactly perfect. You know, this is kind of sticking a little bit more than I want it to. I don't want it to pull up any of my other transfer colors. So I'm going to fuzz it a little bit more, just to be sure. Okay, that ought to do. See if I can get this on here where I want it without taking too much time. That'll work. Okay, no bubbles. Get this smoothed out. Some people like to take their squeegees and put it across their projects. I did that one time and I did it too hard and messed up my project just a little bit. So, all right, got it down. Let me go ahead and get my paste on here and get it smoothed out. Make sure it's covered completely, just like the last time. This is so much fun. It's always kind of like a, what's it gonna look like whenever it's done? Like, I have this idea in my head. Will it look the way that I want it to? expect it to or want it to. Sometimes it's better, and sometimes when you're done, you're like, meh, that isn't what I thought it was going to be. And then you can just wipe it off and start over again. So like I said, I'm using this a little thicker than I probably normally would, but it's because I want it a little bit thicker over top of this white color. Get the extra off of there. Oh. All right. But keep in mind, the thicker it is, the quicker it's going to dry, so the faster you have to work with this. All right, that's done. Once again, I just peel this off and I stick it in my water. Same as before. This time I'm going to dry my fingers off. There we go. It still pulled up a little bit of the color underneath, but that's okay. I discovered earlier I can use my stirring sticks just to touch it up just a little bit. And then it looks just fine. Or if you have a little paintbrush, you can use that too. There we go. This is what it looks like when it's done. I think it's super cute. I'm excited about it, this idea. And then I can add some little flowers or something like that on here if I want to. Or if I think this isn't going to work, I just wipe it off and do it again. So now that I'm finished with my project, I'm going to clean this off. I just got a notification that my battery is low on my phone. That's great. So same thing, get the extra off in the water. Then I'm going to move it over here, but this time I'm going to use Clorox wipes to clean it before I put it back on my sheet. And I did not mark these, but if you pay attention, one side has a more matte finish, one side has a more shiny finish. The shiny finish side is where you put your transfer back in. So I just take my wipe. I'm going to clean off all the extra chalk on this side. Turn it over here, make sure the back is defuzzing. This reactivates your sticky using a Clorox wipe on it. And you can look and see there are pieces of fuzz on here that it picked up from the towel. This wipes it off. And let that dry just a little bit while I do this one. Same deal. Use my water in here to get the extra chalk off. And then I'm going to use my Clorox wipe to clean it off completely on my towel. And this just keeps your transfers lasting as long as possible. Like I said, crafting with Chalk Couture is fun and it's not expensive because you pay one price for your transfer and one price for your paste, and you can use whatever surface you want to put it on. Wood's a little tricky. You do have to use like a Minwax wood. It's called a paste, finishing paste, wax finishing paste. And you have to use that in order to prepare the wood so you don't get any splinters or any little pieces of stuff. And sometimes, like I like to use the antiqued or whitewashed wood, and it's a little rough. So using the wax just kind of keeps everything down so your transfer doesn't pull everything up and ruin your transfer with little splinters and pieces of wood. So all I do now, make sure I'm using the right side. I didn't mark it like I said I should have. And just sticking this back on here. Make sure I don't have any little bubbles in it. And there we go. My transfer is ready to use the next time. So that's it. Got my project all finished. Just need to let it dry and it's ready to hang, or I can add some more details with it with some more transfers if I want to. Thanks a lot for joining me today. If you are interested in Chalk Couture, please send me a message and let me know, or you can visit my website, which is linked on my Facebook page, Chocolate Lady at chalkcouture.com. And you can purchase anything you want from that page. It has everything that's in stock is on that page and ready for you to order. If you live locally and you don't want to pay the shipping costs in that way, you can message me and I will order it for you, and we can meet somewhere, or I'll bring it over to your house and we can chalk together. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.